All right, 20 years ago, then President George W. Bush launched the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, also known as Pepfar. The program has been credited with saving more than 25 million lives, mostly in Africa. But there's growing concern the Biden administration, the most pro-abortion administration in our nation's history, plans to use the Pepfar program to promote abortion internationally. Joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Chris Smith, who was the primary author of the previous Pepfar congressional authorization. He serves on the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. He is the co-chair of the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission and the chair of the House Global Human Rights and International Organizations Subcommittee. He represents the 4th Congressional District of New Jersey. Congressman Smith, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to see you.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but my take on what we're seeing here with this Pepfar reauthorization is that the Biden administration, like everything else, trying to somehow shoehorn abortion into it. And for those who have been longtime supporters, yourself included, of Pepfar, are raising concerns saying, wait a minute, I can't support this if you're changing its reach and its mission. But they're saying you're at fault for trying to stop it and you may kill Pepfar. Is that correct?
No, that's correct. But not only are they doing it or planning on doing it, they're already doing it. President Biden has hijacked the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief. I'm disappointed that George W. Bush has not called Biden and said, "What are you doing?" You know, there was a consensus, right, left, middle, that providing life-saving medicines and interventions to prevent AIDS in the first place is a very noble goal, and it needs to be done. That said, what Biden has done, he has now said that abortion promotion and performance is integrated with all of our HIV/AIDS work overseas. So we're targeting African countries primarily, but there are some others who get our foreign aid. And we're talking $6 billion a year, $30 billion over 5 years. So he has completely hijacked, Tony, completely a program that was doing great good. But this is in concert with UN AIDS. 11 different organizations make up UNAIDS, including the World Health Organization, UNICEF, all the other groups that are promoting abortion around the world at the UN. And the UN has become radicalized over the last several years, and now it's getting even worse. WHO has put out a call to action, World Health Organization, to attain universal health coverage through linked sexual and reproductive health and rights, and HIV interventions. So now they want to have every country to have a universal health care plan that has embedded in it abortion on demand paid for by the government and HIV/AIDS work, and of course, the universal health care. So all three of those initiatives are linked. Integrated is the word they all use, including the president. He put out an action plan late last year called Reimagining Pepfar. Reimagining. Reimagining means radically changing Pepfar from what it was before. You know, under the Trump administration, and I'm the one who asked him to do it, Trump that is, we had what we call the Mexico City policy. So that any grantee, foreign non-governmental organization, for example, or sub-recipient of this fund, $6 billion a year, cannot promote or perform abortions. It was working. We were getting money to those who were very focused on what their goal is, and that is to end HIV/AIDS, prevent mother-to-child transmission, but not create an additional class of victims by funding abortion. And unfortunately, this is what the UN's doing. It is what the WHO is doing under Dr. Tedros. It is what the Biden administration is doing, and it's outrageous. And we're not going to allow, I'm going to fight it very hard, there to be a 5-year reauthorization. But that said, there probably will be a 1-year authorization, hopefully with some conditionality, as we do it through the appropriations process, but not 5 years no conditions.
I want to read a quote from Senate Foreign Relations Chair Bob Menendez. He said, quote, "They're taking what was an initiative of George Bush that has been successful across the globe, particularly in Africa, and are now trying to make it a political issue about abortion. They changed the program. You raise concerns about it, and you're the aggressor."
Oh, I know. That is such a misleading statement. They are the ones who have hijacked. By they, I mean the Biden administration. And there's no other word to describe it. They have hijacked a great program and now turned it into an abortion promoting program. And the Africans don't want it, but they're creating a large number of activists in every single capital that receives funds, as well as throughout the country, training them. And they're also going to be training them to provide, this is through, which is not covered by Mexico City, because on the very first, as soon as he came into office, President Biden got rid of the Mexico City policy, which was first announced by Reagan in 1984 at a UN conference where in Mexico City. A tremendous program. Trump expanded it to include Pepfar, and I'm the one who asked him to do it because we knew that the bad groups were like International Planned Parenthood Federation and a whole host of others were making a beeline for American taxpayer funding to promote abortion in these countries. They don't want it. But if you give enough money and enough of the deception that they're so capable of, we see it in our own country, how deceptive the abortion lobby is. Well, in Africa, they're just as deceptive, using well-honed skills to lie and deceive in order to kill unborn babies. And I'm just shocked at what Biden has done. We're going to try to rein in as best we can on this outrage. But I would hope that George W. Bush, in my appeal to him, and I did talk to some of the people around him, he should be calling Biden today and say, stop hijacking my program. Again, there was a great consensus in the Congress that passed this. Henry Hyde was the prime author of the original bill. There was nobody more pro-life than Congressman Henry Hyde. And I did, as you indicated, the last reauthorization 5 years ago. But then we had the Mexico City policy, which is now gone.
And I mean, I remember this from the start. And I remember these protections were specifically placed in there. And I know this money will be used to hire those activists to try to get them to change their laws on life, as well as the LGBTQ. It's the trifecta.
Oh, it's a twin initiative, Tony. Yeah. And just real quick, Biden has a Pepfar. It's called the 2023 Country and Regional Operational Plan Guidance, in which they explicitly admonish those who are receiving those funds to change laws.